Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, I'm not very well, I'm a very poorly Vicky Marie chance, but I wanted to come on and do some sort of video because I know you all like to chat between yourselves as well. And of course didn't do any videos yesterday. I have released a couple of videos, like recorded videos, but to have a video that you can chat on would have to be a premiere or a live. So I was thinking about it today, and I was thinking, well, what can I do where I don't have to hardly talk, because it's really hurting me. You can hear it anyway in my voice. It's really hurting my throat to speak. And something that I've been meaning to do for a while is look at some of the other interviews from the Madeleine Soto case. We haven't done anything. I've not done anything about Madeleine Soto over Christmas. There's been all sorts of other things going on, but there are some interviews we haven't listened to together yet. And one of them, or the bunch of them, are the ones we're going to listen to in this video, which are the interviews with Jen Soto's housemates. So she had two housemates, didn't she? And I think it's very important what they've got to say. I've listened to bits of them. I haven't listened to the whole thing all the way through. It's quite long, just to warn you. There's several interviews on here and they're quite lengthy. So you can, get yourself a cup of tea or whatever. I don't know. You can go off and make your lunch while this is on. Just listen to it in the background, you don't have to be, there's not much to watch. I'm going to put some nice pictures on of Madeleine, but there's not much to watch. It's just audio, really. But leave comments, try and be kind to Maddie's mum. I know there's a lot of hate going on for Jen, but I still don't feel the hate for her that a lot of people think. I'm frustrated with her. I think she's a fool. But I don't necessarily think that she had actually anything to do with Madeleine's death. But, time will tell. But just try and be a little bit kind. But, everyone has their views. And as long as you're not horrible to, really horrible to anyone, and don't be horrible to each other, of course, and don't dox yourself. And don't mention other YouTube channels, apart from Grizzly True Crime, because the thing is, I have to mention her because this audio, although I've got these audios somewhere, Grizzly has put them all together. Gisela has put them all together, and, that's really helpful. And I feel like I'm being a bit lazy, but I use the excuse that I am ill. So it was great to have them all together like that. I've given her credit in the description of this video. Go over to Grizzly, give her a sub or like a couple of her videos, to show some appreciation. I know that Gisela doesn't mind people using her content as long as they give her credit. So I'm hoping she won't take offense at this. But, at the moment, there wasn't another way I could do it. I'm already talking too much. It's difficult for me not to talk. Oh, I've got it's like a throat infection, sinus infection, ear infection, you name it. My house is like a sick bay at the moment. Anyway, but never mind, it'll pass as things do. So I'm having a little hot toddy. And we're going to watch this video together. Please give your comments. I might interject here and there about things, but I'm going to try and speak like the minimum you'll be glad to hear. I'm not intending on talking much. So I want to thank as always, as the banner says, thank you to all my subscribers, all my lurkers, all my chatters, or my replay crew, anyone. A special thanks to members. Just thank you so much for all the support you give to my channel. I really appreciate it. And special thanks, as I say, to my members and to people who buy me Ko-Fi's or PayPal me. or send super stickers. Sorry, you can see I can't even think straight because of this horrible whatever it is that I've got, this lurgy that I've got. So thank you. And I'm going to turn the banner off now. See if we've got anybody in. Oops, hang on. I just can't even find the banner to take it off now. Just, how can I not be able to find it? Oh, there it is. That's the way my brain's working at the moment. In other words, it's not working. Hi, David. Hi, hope you're okay. I know this lurgy is going around everywhere, isn't it? Doesn't, you know, it's like lots of people I know in the UK have got it, and it's rife in Spain. But you know why? I know why I've got it, because, of course, my son's working in a restaurant, and there's been all the grockles, that, you know, all the tourists over for Christmas and bringing all their lurgies with them. So he's got it. He got it. He's been really ill, and now I've finally got it as well. Anyway, they'll all be going home soon. You know, they've all been out for Christmas and New Year, so they won't bring any more bugs out. Oh, and just to say, the reason I ended up doing this a bit earlier, I was going to do it later on today, but of course it's the Three Kings today in Spain, so there's going to be bangers later. So there'll be bangers, there'll be parades, and you know what it's like when I'm trying to do a live and there's bangers going off. It's like bedlam. So I thought I'd do it a bit earlier. And sorry if I've caught you out a bit early. Some people like to watch things, you know, in the late afternoon rather than early afternoon. Well, you'll be able to go on replay and watch it. I hope you will. I hope you'll listen to this. I think there's quite a lot of little nuggets to be gleaned from these interviews. You know, when you think about police investigations, they are like so intricate, aren't they? All the bits of information that you have to take from all the different witnesses or people who knew the people and put it all together. It's like a jigsaw, isn't it? And try and make some sense of it all and try and look out for the bits that are important. Because not everything, not all the information you get from people, witnesses, etc., is important. But the trouble is, you don't know that. Sometimes a bit of information that you didn't think was important at the time, later on turns out to be important. So it's quite intriguing, isn't it? And I think these interviews, they have to be listened to several times. Sorry. I can feel my voice is going. So with no further ado, let's start listening to these interviews. And don't forget, leave me any comment you want in chat about what you think about what is going on. And please don't forget to press the like button. And that, you know, gets more people into the chat. Thank you. Right, where am I? Here we go. Now, this first route, this was March the 7th, 2024. And this was Nathalie, the roommate Nathalie, speaking.
Lives, but we stayed close. And because we ended up having children around the same age, we kept the kids together. Mm-hmm. So Maddie was one of my son's first friends.
Okay.
So because my son is 12, Maddie's just turned 13. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of, in that process of raising kids together, like you kind of form like a sisterhood. Mm-hmm. And with Jen, I always felt a little bit close because we shared just, I guess, similar struggles, like with anxiety. Mm-hmm. And like, I feel like she was able to share with me, like I was able to share with her, like just anxieties of motherhood. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, you know.
She's easy to talk to.
Yeah, and I felt like naturally, me as a person, I'm very much like, I want my peoples to do good. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want anybody around me to fail because that's a reflection of who you are. Mm-hmm. So even throughout this entire time, I've been helpful, like just trying to like help the family as much as I can. Mm-hmm. That's just the personality that I am. So I kind of gravitated to her because I felt like she needed that too, you know? Mm-hmm. So at some point, we I needed a place to stay. I was, having lived on your own and then having come back home. You crave wanting to have your own space at some point. And Jen had the room available, and I still happen to be a master, so I don't have to share a bathroom with anybody. And that's how we get to the point where I'm there. But our friendship spans from since I first met her.
Gotcha.
We just kind of developed that because I was best friends with her sister. We never, till this day, she's her sister.
When did you move into the place in Venetian Bay?
2000. I feel like I almost made it 2 years. In January, it would have been 2 years.
Okay, so 2022-ish? Okay. When you moved in, who all was living in the house?
Jen, Maddie, there was and I never call her name. I'm very much in my own world always, but she was an older lady, maybe 30. I'm sorry. I forget how old I am sometimes. Sorry. But she was maybe 39. By 2 years ago, I was moved in. I was 2 years. I was 32. So she kind of seemed older to me, but she was always to herself, hardworking. And then Angelica, which she lived right next to me. And then myself. So we have 4 females essentially.
Okay.
Live together.
At any point between 2022 and now, did anybody move out and move in?
The older lady,
okay,
she moved out.
Do you know roughly when?
I want to say 6 months after, between 6 or 7 months after.
After you moved in? Okay.
Yeah.
So summertime of 2022-ish.
Yes. I mean, because we didn't live with her for too long after I moved in. Okay. And I'm thinking the span of 2 years, right? So it had to have been within the 6 months that she left.
Okay. So she moves out. Does anybody move into her room?
No. I think that they wanted to keep it open to possibly rent it out. As much as I wanted to rent it out for my son, it just wasn't something that I could do at the moment.
Gotcha. Now, I know because I've been inside the house or condo, townhome, whatever you want to call it, and I see bedrooms are numbered. So downstairs is the master bedroom. Then upstairs is 2, 3, and 4. So what number were you staying in?
2.
Okay.
Corner left at the master bathroom.
And recently, so within the last few months, Angelica was still staying there. Do you know what room she was staying in?
Next to me, so I think she was number 3.
Okay.
Pretty sure. When they come in, she was my right.
Okay, and was anybody staying in number 4?
So, once this lady moved out, they had it open for a good amount of time. And then, so within, I want to say the time that this lady moved out, at some point, Stefan moves in. And the reason why, Stefan, for the last 5 to 7 years, I want to say, has been he was part of the furniture type shit. He was in the surroundings. Seeing him move in wasn't something that because at that point I had known about him and seen him, it didn't seem like a big deal. I mind my business, right? I do my due diligence for me and my son. I can only ask that for the people around me. So in that situation, because he never came at me at all with anything, I didn't. I stayed in my business. I stayed in my little corner. He stayed downstairs. And then at some point they break up or they have some type of issue. He needs his space or whatever the fuck, he moves upstairs.
Okay.
So, and I want to say he lived upstairs for maybe 3 or 4 months. And then at some point he leaves. Once he leaves, I don't know what happens once he leaves. Then you start seeing him come back around just to like visit. And again, I mind my business. I'm in and out. I see him like, yo, what's up? Jen, you good? We keep it moving. Like that was just like the everyday life, right? Like that was it. So once he starts, at some point, I guess, at some point I didn't even know he was here. Like I had no idea, but that room ends up being used for him to be able to be there and help her if like she needed help with the dogs or something like that. Again, what I'm saying now is what pretty much, because I didn't understand why he was here. Like I didn't know he was here. So by the time I'm being told that Maddie is gone, I'm like, well, what do you mean? Who dropped her off at school? Stefan. Okay, well, what the fuck is Stefan here? Oh yeah, he stayed there overnight. I was like, what the fuck? But anyways, so like at some point, I guess because it was open, then that allowed him to be able to have somewhere to stay with, I guess, when he was trying to help Jen with the dogs.
That's quite scary, isn't it? That she didn't know that Stefan was living there, back there, or was staying there. Not knowing who is in your own home. Might not have been her house, but it was her home, and there were he was there, and she didn't know he was there. That's quite spooky, I think. Many years ago, I went to stay with a couple of my friends at an apartment that one of my friends was renting near the beach, and it was massive, this apartment. Loads of bedrooms in it, and we went and stayed there. We had a really nice evening playing games. I think it might have been Three Kings night, actually, because we used to always get together for Three Kings and have games and presents and this, that, and the other. And when we went to bed, when we got up in the morning, it turned out that what the girl whose apartment it was, her boyfriend had been there all the time that we were there, and he'd stayed there overnight. And I didn't know him, I'd never met him, but the thing is, he was a little bit, let's say he was a little bit sketchy. I'd heard, we knew about him. And he was actually there all that time. And then when we all went to bed in our separate rooms and everything, he was there. And when we found that out in the morning, we were all saying, God, that's really quite scary that he was actually there, because he was quite a sketchy guy. Wasn't someone that we'd met, and that we knew, a partner that we'd known. And you would expect someone's partner to be there. He didn't live there normally, but it just was weird because, and the other thing that was weird is because we didn't know that he was there. It wasn't like, oh, well, such and such is, oh yeah, he's there, he's just gone to bed or whatever. We didn't know until the next day when we'd already slept there overnight in our separate rooms that this guy was there, and he was a very sketchy guy. So, none of us were really very happy with that. But so what I'm trying to say is, like, how do she must have felt off to know. So this is, I think, the thing with Madeleine's case, isn't it? How did whatever happened to Madeleine happen without anybody knowing? So, people are saying, oh, how could Jen not have heard anything? But it wasn't only Jen who didn't know what was going on. There was 2 other roommates there who didn't know. And it's not the most biggest house, but it's stairs, isn't it? It's on different floors. A bit probably like my house, what they call a townhouse or a duplex. Not really big in sense of square meters, but big in the sense of different floors. They're narrow, tall houses. How could anybody not know? How could he not only kill someone, but then smuggle out her body and everything without anyone? All those people in that house. There was Jen and the 2 roommates didn't hear anything. It really is quite scary, isn't it? Yeah, I expect this woman feels bad. Because the trouble is, in the end, everyone feels bad, don't they? Except Stefan, probably.
Something like that. But the point is, within the time that I stayed there, he lived upstairs for like 4 months, and then he dipped out. At any point, if they used that for him to stay at some point, if I didn't see him downstairs, I didn't know, because I was just in and out. But from what I remember, he stayed there for 4 months, and then he left.
Okay. So before we dive into that dynamic, relationship-wise, so what was your relationship with Angelica?
So Angelica's a very nice person. She's a very cordial person. You can tell that that she comes from like a family that taught her like about her culture. She would cook a lot. And like, I'm not the best cook. So like, I like to learn and I like to see, and especially if the food smells good, me and my son are there, you know?
Yeah.
So it ends up being like a little bit of like, because Maddie was downstairs, we ended up kind of watching her cooking together. But that's as far as it really goes, because again, you know, I'm an operation manager. I work between 40 to 50 hours a week.
Where do you work at?
It's called Integrity Reconstruction and Roofing. So we work in like plumbing and service industry, like plumbing industry. So we go to people's houses and
Gotcha.
yeah, like fix their plumbing. But anyways, I pretty much run like 3 different departments. So I'm just always like in and out. But as far as like every time I talked to her, it was really pleasant, high and by. If I sat down and spoke to her, it was like we had like a Valentine's Day type of situation, because like we were all like at that point single, and like it's especially for her, she doesn't really have anybody out here, so like we just try to do something special together. And I get to know her and her situation, but it wasn't anything like, I'm not like, even to now, if I check in with her, it's just to make sure she's okay. But like, am I talking to her every day? I never really spoke to her every day. If I spoke to her, because I saw her in the kitchen cooking, essentially.
So when you would live there, you said a majority of your time was spent in your bedroom. Any point that you would hang out in the living room? I know some of the living room was partitioned off for Maddie.
Yeah.
Did everybody kind of gather around the living room, or did everybody pretty much stay themselves in their room?
So, if we gathered, it was because either like I was cooking and Jeremiah and Maddie were watching me cook, or we were having a birthday get together or Easter get together. Like, we try our best to keep the kids together throughout the occasions, just because all of us are so busy throughout the week. And when I mean us, I mean like the group of kids. It was Maddie, Aloysia, and Jeremiah. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah, so their kids seem to sort of associate, but it doesn't sound like they all, you know, I suppose when you share a house, when you house share, which is something you normally do when you're younger, isn't it? Not necessarily when you're older. I've done it, had terrible experiences with roommates. Just not for me, that at all. It's hard enough sharing the house, you know, with my own son. You know, it's a nightmare sharing with people you don't really know. But what was I going to say? Oh, but I really feel for these roommates, because you know, when the forensics moved in on that house, they went, you know, we've seen all the photos of their bedrooms and everything that were in the crime scene photos. You know, the forensics moved in. They didn't only go into Jen's room or the spare room upstairs or, you know, Maddie's makeshift room. They went right through that house. They took photos of that lady, Nathalie. She said she's got the ensuite, so she was probably the one paying more rent. So paying different rents, weren't they? She was probably paying a bit more because she had an ensuite bathroom. And so really, she was entirely, apart from having to go to the kitchen, but she could always put, what do you need to go to the kitchen for if you're working full time, whatever, you probably get takeaways and stuff. So apart from going into the kitchen, really, she could just stay in her space. But, I wonder where they went, because Jen had to get a hotel, didn't she? Jen and Stefan and Stefan's father. So think of these people are not even anything to do with it. Or mind you, the police didn't know that at the time because all they know is Madeleine is deceased, I suppose. Or maybe they already knew a little bit about Stefan. But, they've got to search the whole house. And these people's lives, wonder where they are now. If they moved back into the house, if they moved somewhere else, their lives, were just turned upside down as well. And the world seeing your bedroom, God, I'd hate. So, imagine the police come around my house now and say, oh my God. No, listen, not my part of the house is not so bad. But if they went in my son's room and videoed it and, you know from your own houses, unless you're, one of those people who are lucky enough to have a show home and, you keep on top of cleaning and stuff. It's not really cleaning. It's untidiness, isn't it? You can keep on top of cleaning, but, it's just houses are lived in, aren't they? So anyway, what I'm trying to say basically is it must have been difficult for them too, and they had nothing to do with it, did they? So, yeah, difficult.
Those were the kids that were typically together, and Aloysius' sister.
Who's Olesa?
It's Stephanie's daughter.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep.
So those were the moments that we would really congregate around that area. But as far as on a day-to-day, I was mostly upstairs. Because if we were home, it's because we had finished going to school, picking up the groceries, taking my son to therapy. The errands of the day were done, and our time to kind of like calm down, start our night routines. That's the time that we were pretty much home. Is during the time that we're settling down, going to sleep. Because then the next morning we're back outside. Either whether it's the weekend, we're out, or either walking, hiking in the lakes, trying to keep ourselves busy. If I was home, it was momentarily take a nap, get ready, be out again, parents' house. So I just intentionally for my son, I try to keep myself really busy because I work so much throughout the week.
Gotcha.
So if there wasn't really, in my eyes, the only time that we were really downstairs were when we were celebrating something or having like a special like little event or get together for the kids.
All right. So Stefan, how long? Okay, so you've lived there 2 years. Was Stefan already living there at the time, or? So
I know, and like I said, he was very much. It seemed like he was part of the furniture type. Like he was just around for so long in the background that like I want to say that when I started living there, he was already like. If he wasn't moved in, he was already like settled in type.
Would it fair to say that he was already established there, like clothes and?
I think so. Like belongings, but like really in her life, yes. Like like he believe me, like, and it's so weird knowing just the all little stuff that I know now because you're around someone for so long. And it's like you don't really ever know anybody like at all. But anyways, unfortunately, seeing him wasn't something like I said, he was part of the background.
What was your relationship with him?
So I don't like, my only issue with him really was that throughout the time of, if they ever had like a fight or a breakup, the venting that I received from Jen was that, he didn't provide at all. And he didn't like, so, I mean, I have my expectations for someone that I'm with, and like, we share those expectations, me and Jen, and he just wasn't living up to that. And it was mostly because of whatever mental health stuff. Listen, everybody has a mental health. I don't want to judge anybody, but those still got to get paid. And that was always my issue. And when I don't like to be ingenuine. So when I feel that way, I keep you at like an arm's length. Like, I don't really get close to you like that. Like, if I can't really fucks with you like that, like, I'm not really around you being fake like that. So
in other words, what she's saying, she knew he was a twonk. All this about is a whinge about his mental health and is this, that, and the other. Stefan Stearns he's just like he's a baby, isn't he? He's like this man baby. He's horrible. It's like my anxiety, my this, my that, and people do suffer from real mental health issues and stuff. And you've got this man baby whinging about everything. And what this lady is saying, basically, she saw right through him. So she couldn't have anything to do with him or much to do with him because she's a person who's too genuine. I would be like that because I find it hard I don't like fake people. I find it hard to be nice to people that I know are fake. So rather than be there and be rude, which I probably would be, I just can't help it because I know they're fake and they're putting it on. I mean, genuine people, that's a different matter. So rather than do that, rather than be rude and knowing that you cannot keep up a pretense, just avoid that person. That's the best thing because you don't, she's living there. She doesn't want hassle. This is Jen's boyfriend. She doesn't want any hassle. So the easiest thing to do, she works hard. She comes home from work. She goes straight to her room, gets up in the morning, goes to work. She doesn't have to associate with Stefan and she didn't want to. It's interesting, isn't it? And what you were saying, David, is this Nathalie? Is that who he was looking at under the door, of the bathroom? So she was right. Her instincts were right. If only Jen had the same instincts. Jen's got no bloody instincts because all Jen cares about really is herself. She is a narcissist, which doesn't mean to say she did anything wrong to her daughter, anything like participated in anything, but she is definitely, Jen's so caught up in her own stuff, she doesn't notice someone like Stefan.
That was how I kept it. And again, very much part of like the scenery. Like he didn't stand out to me. Like,
would you consider him a friend?
No.
Okay.
No, because I never spoke to him outside of the hi and bye. I never had his number. If I know anything about him, is because Jen would vent to me the issues that they would have as a couple.
What kind of issues would they have?
It's the having to, he was at the house and like, cause he lived there longer than I did for sure. So, just not bringing in money of his own, really, not being able to hold, a job and really whatever mental health issues he had being that the crutch of why he can't do and operate.
Now, did you form this opinion prior to all of this happening within the last week, or have you talked to Jen and you kind of came up with the same?
They've been together for they were together for like 5 or 7 years between that. And this is feedback from all these years.
Okay.
So once we started living together, the venting, like there was no communication in regards to the relationship, just because like once you start living together, like I want to be able to hold the peace and she does too. And it's hard to let someone in when you live with them like that. Like I don't want, if she ever needed to talk to me about anything, I know that she would. But when we started living together, we didn't talk as much as when we did when we didn't live together. Like I would see her every day. If we took the kids to the pool, then we had like maybe 15, 20 minutes to catch up while the kids were at the pool. But we wouldn't really talk about Stefan. Like, I think it came to a point where she had talked and vented so much to me when they finally broke up, that
other than, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but did she come out and tell you the reason that they were breaking up is because he's not providing, or were there other reasons?
That was pretty much like, I think they were fighting a lot. And
what would they fight over? Do you know?
I don't know specific details. I just know that like sometimes I would hear them fighting, like yelling. But like I couldn't really hear specific details. And then, like I said, she really stopped talking to me once they got back together, because I think she felt kind of like weird, her talking so much shit to me about him breaking up and then at some point getting back together. She didn't really even tell us that they were back together, to be honest with you. So like at some point within the 2 years of me living there, like she stopped really venting to me about Stefan and about the relationship. If there was really any issues of wanting to get a job, you know, and I was really proud of her, because she ended up having the job at the Disney concierge, and she was doing super well, like in that mental aspect. But like it wasn't really about Stefan. It was more like about personal, like having to, you know, maintain this job, like, cause she's never really been able to maintain like a really good, stable job herself because of her own issues. So she was really excited about this, you know, and those were the type of conversations that we were trying to have just to kind of stay positive. But I know that the biggest issue that she would tell me when she was venting to me was about him not being able to provide. I think at some point, once he started working, like he would spend money on stupid shit. It was always very financial, the issue that she would vent to me.
Gotcha. All right, so when they broke up and got back together, when roughly was that? Do you remember? The last couple of weeks, months, year?
No. He had moved out. He had been out the house, because remember, he went upstairs for like maybe 4 months, and then he had been out the house already for like, I think like between 7 or 8 months before I started seeing him again. Like it was like, I want to say between 6 or 8 months before I started seeing him again.
All right, so within the last couple months, say December of last year up until now, how often do you think you would see him?
Maybe a total of 3 times, maybe. I think.
Anything like significant why he would be coming back? Or just random times? Or
I think the first 2 times I believe he just would stop by. I want to say.
Did Jen say why he would come by?
No, if I saw him, it was because I literally physically saw him, like sitting in the chair where he sit, and I like again just, hey, good Jen, good, and then just go upstairs.
Okay. All right. What's your work schedule like throughout? Like, is it pretty consistent or?
Yeah, I have to be, because I go by my son's schedule.
Oh, okay.
So I try to be out the house between 7:45. Well, I have to be out the house by 7:50. But like 7:45 is the time that I'm trying to like be out. And from there, I drop my son off here so that my parents can take him to school. He needs to be at school by 9, and I start work at 9.
Gotcha.
So I'm typically here between 8:15 and 8:20. And then it takes me about 30, 40 minutes to get to work, depending on traffic. And then I work in Ocoee, the office. Okay. So I'm there until Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm there between 9, I get there, and 3:30. On Wednesdays, I'm there between 9 and 2:30, because Wednesdays is early day.
Early day, right.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he goes to the street right down, school right down the street, okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the office work. Once I'm done with that, we either have dinner here or I make something at home.
Mm-hmm.
So we could be home between, and that's like, let's say if I don't have to pick anything up, we're home between 6 and 7. We're home between 6 and 7. I finish like an hour of work. He finishes his homework.
Mm-hmm.
Then we start getting ready for bed, and we're tucked in by 8:30. I either fall asleep with him,
Mm-hmm.
or I stay up watching TV and finishing work until I fall asleep.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I'm going to now dig into kind of more detailed information. But before I start that, I know you and Jen are friends. You and Stefan aren't necessarily friends. You and Angelica are kind of acquaintances too. And these type of investigations and the seriousness of some of these crimes, we need to get very, very detailed on specific things. Okay. I'm not going to ask you any uncomfortable things, which I don't think are uncomfortable. If you don't feel comfortable at answering some of the things, just let me know, and we can see if we can work around it. Okay. All right. So when the weekend of February 25th, 26th ish. So let's say that's Saturday. So a week ago from Saturday.
Okay.
Okay. You were still staying at the townhome? Is that what you want to call
It
it?
was a townhouse,
Okay. You were still staying there, I'm assuming. Living there, I guess you could.
Saturday before everything happened, or yes, I was still living there up to recently.
Okay.
I moved out because I don't want to be in that house.
Right. Okay, so that's Saturday. Walk me through Saturday.
Okay. I want to say Saturday the 20. Can I check to see the tickets for?
Yeah, absolutely.
My son likes anime, and a new Demon Slayer movie came out. I just don't know if it was that weekend or the last weekend. These last couple of days have been like one blur. Okay, so today is what day?
Today,
The 7th. Okay.
that Saturday would have been the 24th. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, the 24th. Correct.
The Saturday was the 24th, which means I had tickets to go to South Chase at 7:20. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, we were watching this movie at the South Chase Theater.
Okay, in the evening of Saturday.
Yeah. So we were there for 2 hours starting at 7. Well, it's like an hour and 45 minutes starting at 7:30.
Okay. During the day, were you at home?
Let me think that day. Because we had a late evening, I believe, I'm just trying to think, because we're always like in and out.
Mm-hmm.
If I was home between, we left by 6:15. So from 6, okay. Because was that Sunday? No. I'm trying to think because we went to Lake Eola. Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look up my financials. I pay everything with cards, so.
I don't think anybody pays cash for anything nowadays.
There's some places that don't accept it. It's kind of scary. Okay, the 24th. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I don't have anything on that day, so that means we went. Could we have gone that day?
So did anything as significant happen on Saturday that you could think of other than?
No, we were really just getting ready for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I mean, I know that I at some point wished Maddie a happy belated birthday. I don't remember if that was Friday or Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember that because I felt bad because I had missed her birthday. But no, like we probably woke up early. I don't have any transactions, meaning we went for a walk,
Mm-hmm.
came home, took a shower, started doing like my stuff that I typically do on Saturday nights. I was doing it before, so like that we can be ready for the movie. But nothing seemed out of normal.
Okay. Now Sunday. You see the movie Saturday night. Do you go back home Saturday night, or did you come here?
No. I
Come
went
back home. Okay.
Yeah.
So Sunday, walk me through Sunday. What you did that day?
Pretty sure we went to the Lake Eola Park.
Mm-hmm. Morning, afternoon,
In the
evening?
morning.
Okay.
Yeah. They have, I think you guys know, they have like a market, a farmer's market. So there was this, he didn't like anything at the farmer's market, and he saw sushi on the way there. So we wanted to stop by sushi. We ate, we were there until I want to say 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started heading back home. I'm trying to think. The moment that like, okay, let me think.
So I'll just try to help you out a little bit. When you get home, is anybody home?
No, I got home a little bit on the earlier side because we had gone out so early.
Mm-hmm.
And we had been walking around, so my son was tired. And we kind of just ended up staying home by by 6:30. Like we're watching a movie snuggled up. By again 8 o'clock, he's knocking out. And my Mondays are always really hard, so I try to get some sleep before. But like I didn't see anybody there when I got there.
At any point that night, did anybody come home that you know of?
I never really I always keep the TV so loud, which I'm not doing anymore. But no, in my little corner, I never really paid attention, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I once my son falls asleep, I can rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of knock out or go into my own little world.
Do you keep your TV on all night?
I have a really bad habit, yeah.
Okay. All right. At any point on Sunday evening, Sunday night, did you see Angelica, Jen, Maddie, or Stefan at all?
No.
Okay.
I didn't even know Stefan was here.
Okay. So Monday morning when you wake up, you said you are adamant that you got to leave by.
I still think that's so creepy, not knowing, who's in your home. Maybe she has a separate room there, but that's her home where she lives and she didn't know he was there. Gives me the creeps, that. I wouldn't like that at all. That's the problem if you're house sharing, flat sharing. You don't know who's there.
By 7:45.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your routine, I know there's a bathroom upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily attached to your room, right? You got to come out of your bedroom to go to the bathroom?
No, it's inside.
Okay, so yours is
It's
inside.
a master.
Got it. Okay. So your routine is get up, you do whatever in the bathroom, come out, get changed, get your son ready, and you guys go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, when you go and you're leaving your bedroom, did you see anybody that morning?
No.
Okay. Did you hear anybody that morning?
No.
Okay. When you were coming out of your room, you have to pass bedrooms 3 and 4. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were either of their doors open?
No.
So they were closed, or you don't know?
They were closed.
Okay. when you walked downstairs and you were going out to leave, was Jen's dog wandering around anywhere?
Jen's dog is typically sleeping next to the couch.
Okay.
But I don't remember seeing him. Like,
Okay.
I usually see him on the couch. So if I tell you I saw, it's because I typically see him on the couch. But I can't really say if I remember seeing him.
Now, when you leave, do you remember if Jen's door was open or closed?
Her door's always closed, like with this much of space, so that the cat can come out.
Okay. Do you happen to look, be nosy or whatever it may be, and you can look towards that to see if the door is open, or could you see anybody inside, hear anybody inside?
No, it was like any other morning.
Okay.
And I just
leave. Okay. And how confident are you that you left around 7:45 that morning?
I have a meeting first thing in the morning on Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. I can tell you because my boss typically texts me. And like if I'm waiting outside for a parking spot, it's always like around 9:05.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because it was Monday, I'm up like, and I had been sleeping late. Okay. Yeah, I had to have left on time because I was at work on time.
Okay. Now, when you say you're leaving on time, you're leaving right at 7:45 or before that?
Right at 7:45.
Okay. Did anything seem out of place downstairs? Did you see something that may be on a counter or a table or anything that you don't really see on a daily basis?
No. The table is typically cluttered with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like Valentine's Day stuff or whatever arts Maddie was doing.
Mm-hmm.
No, it didn't feel any different. It felt like just another day.
Okay. All right. Let's get into Maddie. Anytime when you would leave to go to school, have you ever seen Maddie getting ready in the morning for school or anything like that?
So Maddie typically wakes up when I'm about to like head out.
Mm-hmm.
I make my son's lunches. So I'm like downstairs by like 7:40 making lunches.
But did she just say then Maddie normally wakes up as I'm going out, or Maddie woke up? Let's just listen to that again.
Been sleeping late. Okay. Yeah, I had to have left on time because I was at work on time.
Okay. Now, when you say you're leaving on time, you're leaving right at 7:45 or before that?
Right at 7:45.
Okay. Did anything seem out of place downstairs? Did you see something that may be on a counter or a table or anything that you don't really see on a daily basis?
No. The table is typically cluttered with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like Valentine's Day stuff or whatever arts Maddie was doing.
Mm-hmm.
No, it didn't feel any different. It felt like just another day.
Okay. All right. Let's get into Maddie. Anytime when you would leave to go to school, have you ever seen Maddie getting ready in the morning for school or anything like that?
So Maddie typically wakes up when I'm about to like head out.
Mm-hmm.
I make my son's lunches. So I'm like downstairs by like 7:40 making lunches. And sometimes I would see Maddie get up, but then sometimes she was late. So it was really yes and no. And then I think that there were times where she may have been sleeping over her grandma's house.
Mm-hmm.
So just a reminder to people coming in now, what we're listening to, this is Jen Soto's, or one of Jen Soto's roommates, housemates, Nathalie, or Natalie, I don't know how it's pronounced. And this was her interview on the 7th of March last year.
So like,
Where would Maddie typically sleep?
in her room.
In the little partition area. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever seen Maddie get ready for school or anything like that?
No, I think she would get ready in her mom's room.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like if I'm downstairs, it's for that moment, and then I go back upstairs.
All right. Do you know, or have you ever talked to either Maddie or Jen, when Maddie gets ready for school, like when she would get dressed for school, if you know or if you heard, would she just go in her closet, pick out what she's going to wear for the day, or do you know how that would work?
So, not really, because I wasn't involved with like I wasn't in Jen's room watching her get her daughter's stuff ready to know. I know, what I do know is that Maddie loved clothes and she loved looking nice, and I can imagine that she would pick out her own clothes. I don't see Jen being the one picking out her clothes.
Do you think Maddie would lay out her clothes the day before to go to school? Or?
I would see her being that type of person. Have I ever seen it? No. But
it's funny that she says, because Jen said she laid her clothes out. So really what the woman's saying there, said she thought Maddie laid her own clothes out for going to school, but Jen said that particular night she laid her clothes out, and did routinely. I'm trying to think, she's 13 years old, she's probably got a good idea of what she wants to wear, or maybe she had like a certain selection of clothes that Jen knew she would like to wear, and that's how Jen could do it. Don't forget, it was Madeleine's birthday the day before. It was, not like a normal weekend, I suppose. But who knows? Jen said she laid those clothes out for Madeleine. That's how she knew what Madeleine was wearing, which of course wasn't what Madeleine was wearing, as it turned out. But Jen said the reason she knew what Madeleine was wearing was because she had laid those clothes out herself.
But Maddie liked clothes, and I say that because she would we had that in common. Like, I would go downstairs and like try something on for her.
Mm-hmm. Where would she normally keep her clothes?
She had I call it a bureau, but it's a drawers, it's drawers, where the TV was. And I want to say she had little drawers on the side, like little plastic ones. I think she may have some stuff in Jen's closet. I don't know, but I want to say that's where she had her clothes, because she had like a whole drawer set in her little partition area.
So when you would leave to go to work or make breakfast or make lunches downstairs, where would Maddie typically be? In her mom's room at that point. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever see her sleeping in her own bed that's down there?
I mean, I've seen her a lot in that area. Mm-hmm. A lot of the times that I was down there, it was throughout the daytime. Mm-hmm. If it was into the evening, she would be like on her computer. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, no, I guess she had the area closed off too, so I guess I never really saw her tuck in. I was always in and out. I mean, she would be in there all the time, but as far as a full night's sleep, I guess I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Did they ever talk about if Maddie would sleep with Jen?
I mean, I want to say yeah. I want to say yeah because their alarm, whenever Maddie's alarm would go off, it would go off in her mom's room.
Mm-hmm. Do you know roughly what time her alarm would go off?
Like 7:40, like 7:35, 7:40.
Okay.
Only because I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's around the time that I'm getting ready to leave.
Got it. Okay. And typically Maddie would be in mom's room.
Whenever, yeah. Like in the mornings, yeah.
Okay. Have you ever known, before I answer that, what was the relationship between Stefan and Maddie?
I always saw him because they had been in each other's, like, and he had been in Jen's life for such a long time. I always kind of felt like that was a father figure to her. I say that, like, I say that really brokenhearted right now, but that's the way I saw it. Like, I saw him, making food and like taking out the dogs, taking out the trash, and like being that type of person in that, like that type of role in their lives. I think that there wasn't a moment where I felt like he could ever hurt her.
So I think we have to take that into account. This is the roommate who also says she saw Stefan as the father figure. She never felt, as much as she was a bit creeped out with Stefan in some ways, she didn't like him because she thought he was a bit of a waster, wasn't he, and that. But she's saying as well, she never thought of him as in that way, about doing bad things to Madeleine in the way that he was. So it's not only Jen that was taken in by Stefan. I think we do have to remember that. Nobody, even Madeleine's biological father, was friendly with Stefan. Nobody suspected him.
So when Maddie's alarm clock would go off when she's getting ready for school, and you're saying she's sleeping with mom, would Stefan also be in the room?
So for the last couple months, like I didn't even know they were together because if he was there, it was for that moment. Like he wasn't staying overnight. Like in the last couple of months where I would hear the alarm ringing, Jen was by herself. Mm-hmm. Jen would sleep with Maddie because Jen didn't like to sleep by herself. But as far as when he was living there, they made that whole area for her so that she can sleep there. I never ever thought she wasn't sleeping there while they were together because they had made that whole area for her. When these last couple months that I've noticed Maddie sleeping in Jen's room was because she was by herself. It never occurred to me that if they were ever in the same bed together like that, because they had made this area for her. And at some point he was sleeping on the couch. So it's nuts.
At any point, did you ever see Stefan alone with Maddie?
There was only one time where I had sent a message to Jen. I want to say I couldn't sleep. I was going to the gym and they were playing Atari. I heard them playing Atari. And the door was partially closed. And I texted Jen. I was like, hey, I just want to make sure you're okay with this because, I grew up in a very different household. My dad doesn't play. So that's just the way I was raised. So I sent her a message. I was like, hey, are you good with this? Are you okay with her being in his room?
So this is the room upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Those were around the time that they were broken up.
Mm-hmm. And what did Jen say?
Thank I mean, I can pull it up, but I'm pretty sure it was thank you, friend, you're good. To that, like, I can pull it up if you want me to pull it.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
But that's the only time where I questioned anything, really, because, again, the way I was raised, we don't play that.
Have you and Jen communicated after all this happened?
Like, after...
Anytime last week, after Monday?
I've been heavily trying to help the family, help my best friend. And I'm not really, like, I don't know how you console somebody that just lost a kid. Like, I can't imagine how it feels. I don't ever want to know how it feels. The only thing I've spoken to her is just, I'm here. Like, whatever you need, getting clothes from her house. Like, I'm here to help. That's, like, as far as the communication with her, how it's been.
Did she ever tell you what happened?
I don't, like, I'm speaking to you coming from a place of not knowing anything. Like, I've been very much affected by it because I myself, like, have a history of abuse. So, like, I always told myself that, like, I would protect myself and my son from this. So it being so close to me, it's affected me in ways that I didn't think it would.
Oh, I mean, it's awful. And what she was just saying about Jen, this is what I keep saying. Have some sympathy for Jen because she has lost her daughter. As much as she might have been a bit useless, and if you really think that Jen is, I just think Jen is this dawning realization of what's happened and what she's done. And, don't forget, I think he was definitely drugging Jen. Definitely. He was giving Maddie double dose. He would have been double dosing Jen as well. Jen didn't know what the hell was going on half the time. And listening to this friend of Jen's talking, I think it's, it brings it home. She's getting upset here. That's her friend. She knew Madeleine as well. She's got a son. It's easy to criticize when you're not in the situation. And as I've said right from the beginning, really, I don't think anyone needs to remind Jen of what a bad mother she is, or this, that, or the other. Nobody will know that more than Jen at the moment. She doesn't really need reminding of it, in my opinion.
I think if you click on it, it will take you to, like, that moment.
Did you have any other text messages between you and Jen about Maddie or Steven or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. So Sunday night, going into Monday morning, did anything stand out to you? Did you hear any noises? Did you hear anybody walking upstairs or downstairs? Or when's the first time you heard about Maddie going missing?
Stephanie called me, I think, around 6:30 Monday, asking me if Maddie had gone home because they were looking for her and she never made it to school. The moment that call came in, I went straight downstairs and I checked the bathroom, Jen's room, and her room.
Did you see anything
and
that looked different to you?
it was weird because it was like everything was bundled up. And I don't know if this is how she typically like kept this shit.
When you're talking about her, is that Maddie or Jen?
Yes, Maddie.
Okay.
Maddie's bed. It was just bundled up like if somebody was there. So when I went to grab it, thinking maybe it was, it was a whole bunch of like clothes or like blankets rolled up.
Was that normal?
Maddie wasn't like always the most tidiest person. And she kept that partition pretty close to not be able to see it. Like,
That's interesting, isn't it? She's saying that everything was bundled up as if it was ready to be taken out.
Maddie struggled with like organization and stuff. But it was weird because I was looking, like at that point I'm looking for her and I see like clothes bundled up and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, it's her. Like, but no, I wouldn't be able to say if that's her usual thing or not. But It was just, to me at that moment, weird because like she's missing and this thing is bundled up. Like if she's supposed to act like she's there or something like that, like it was just really weird at that point. But I mean, for me to sit back and think if she ever kept, like sometimes she didn't do her bed. She always had pillows like all over her bed. Should have paid more attention.
When you left, do you know what kind of car Steven drives? Stefan?
So I end up finding out he's driving this, well, I don't know if it's Lincoln or whatever, but from when I've known him to the last time that I thought I saw him before this whole thing, it was a brown Honda Civic 4-door. Mm-hmm. And it had like a bump on the front.
Okay. When you left, do you know what Jennifer drives?
Yes.
Okay. The white Nissan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you left Monday morning, did you see those cars outside?
I don't remember if I saw her car. So typically she parks in the handicap next, like right there. Mm-hmm. But there's been a van parking there. And like, oh my God. I don't remember if I saw her car or not.
Mm-hmm. What about Stefan's car?
I didn't see the Honda because apparently he wasn't in the Honda.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember seeing the silver car? The Lincoln?
No, I don't remember because I've never seen that car before. And I wouldn't, like it wouldn't stand out to me. I don't like that car.
Mm-hmm. All right. Circling back to, so Stefan is pretty much living at this house up until, according to you, 6-8 months ago. Now, did you ever see Maddie coming and going from his room or Jen's room? I know you said the only time that you've known them to be together is when you text Jennifer about that time. Mm-hmm. Is there any other times that you would see them together?
No, it was always like they were always like the three of them. Like it wasn't. No, and I'm thinking like these last 2 years, right? Like if I ever saw Maddie was either with Jen or she had just came from like going out with her grandpa or being with like Aloysia and like if he was there, they were there together.
All right. Did you hear about the birthday party Sunday?
I ended up hearing about it, but I wasn't invited because it was like super close family only.
Okay.
But I ended up.
Did Jen go to the party?
I think she was working.
Okay.
I think she was working.
This is the job that she's working at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jen, do you know if she takes any medication?
I believe she's depressed. I want to say it's either bipolar or ADHD or a combination. Mm-hmm. But she does take prescribed I won't prescribe medication from her feedback to me throughout the years.
Gotcha. Has she ever tell you like how this medicine affects her?
I know that she struggled for a little bit trying to find like a good medication for her because it would affect either her appetite or her sleeping. She would feel really drowsy. Mm-hmm. She struggled a little bit there. I believe she got with a really good therapist that like really understood her and got her on something that she was able to work with. Because I feel like she was doing better. Like she got this job and she was feeling really good.
All right. Has she ever said any kind of medicine that she takes would either keep her awake or put her to sleep or anything like that?
Yeah, there was medication that would just make her feel super drowsy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that recently or in the past? Or?
It was when she was struggling a lot with it. There was a night where somebody was trying to get into her car. Like it was super random. And I was, again, heading to the gym like at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I see it and like, I'm like, oh, like I'm crazy. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm like, I deterred them from actually breaking in. And I went inside and I was like, Jen. And like, she was super, super sleepy. And she had mentioned to me that there was a medication that like made her feel super sleepy.
What was this?
That was like, oh my God.
You know, all this about Jen being super sleepy, and there were some mornings that Madeleine was so super sleepy, you know, they couldn't get her up in the morning. I think Stefan is behind all that, personally. I think Stefan was creeping around that house, sticking sedatives in their drinks, double dosing them, so that he could do what he wanted to do. That was his thing. He enjoyed that. I wonder if all that will come out when it comes to trial.
Stefan was still living upstairs because he had came down and he was like, I'm going to drive around just to make sure they're out. I was like, all right, bet. But Stefan was still there.
Okay. Did Maddie take any medication? You know?
I think she needed help, like sleeping, because there was medication that she needed in order to have like a good night's sleep. Mm-hmm. I believe, according to her, like the feedback that I've received throughout the years, that she does have like ADHD. Mm-hmm. So she does need something for focus. But those were the only two that I understood as far as from her feedback. Did
Maddie or Jen ever talk to you about the medicine that Maddie takes?
Not in detail, like as far as the name of it or anything like that. I just know that she would vent if like they missed it, and then she would feel the after effects of not being able to sleep or anything like that. Like that's when we would talk about it. Mm-hmm. When it's like, oh man, like I got to get Maddie back on the regimen because if not, like she's not gonna get sleep, things like that.
Gotcha.
But it was never like details as far as like I don't know what it was or anything like that.
Did Jennifer ever talk about Maddie to you at all?
Very general motherhood stuff. Nothing like super, like, it was always very much like, oh my God, school and the kids growing up and Maddie with her struggles and ADHD, and then my son is on the spectrum, so we kind of bonded over that, like different like research stuff that like that's how we bonded, is because she's really good at that. She likes to know stuff, and I like to know people that know stuff. So but it like teenage like attitudes, excited for trips type, trying to think like anything super like dramatic or anything, because there was never anything about like boyfriends or anything like that. like we still looked at the kids like babies, like kids. We would take them to the pool all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like let them kind of just chill. But
Did Maddie and Jen ever argue at all?
yeah, I mean, I think that they had their share of mother-daughter arguments. At least that's how I perceived it. Being that like a mom now and still a daughter, like I always perceived it as that. I never heard anything that made me think it wasn't outside of that. But yeah, they would have their arguments.
All right. Now getting to the more difficult questions. It's always out on the news and stuff like that Stefan may have. Okay. What do you know about that? And here's where I want you to, as tough as it may be very detailed and truthful for me.
I never would have thought that. Like, I have my own trust issues, right? Because of my own experiences. And you think that you have like a good power of discernment and trying to like spot this shit out. I never thought that anything would be inappropriate. Like, if I ever saw him do anything, was just be like a fatherly figure in a way to her. It is deeply upsetting to think that. And like I said, I have my own reservations. I don't bring people around my son like that for my own reasons. I only trust that my friends do their due diligence with the people that bring around their kids, because obviously it affects us. But I would have never thought about like him really doing stuff with her like that. Like, I don't know, like thinking about it, like it just makes me feel stupid.
You can't blame yourself, though.
Exactly. You can't blame yourself. The thing is, people who don't think bad, they cannot, they will not. Some people, if they're sort of innocent in their own ways, in their own feelings and thoughts, they look at, how many relationships do you see? Not only relationships between step-parents, stepfathers, stepmothers and their children, but relationships you see between couples. Any kind of relationship, be it a familial relationship or a sentimental relationship, a romantic relationship. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You only see what's presented to you. You don't see what's going on behind the scenes, behind closed door. You just don't see it. And then when people find out about things that have been going on, they always say, I would never have thought they were that sort of person, or I would never have thought that was happening. These people, if you've not got a bad mind, you can't see it. Or maybe you're just not a sensitive person or an empathetic person that picks up on signals. You just don't know what you might see or you might not see. And now this woman, she's beating herself up a bit about it, and she shouldn't, because he is a manipulator. He's manipulated his parents since he was a child. He's manipulated parents, friends, partners, and he's manipulated her because she thought he was just, even though, as a friend, she maybe didn't like him, but she never thought he was doing anything to Madeleine. You know, sometimes people's thoughts just don't run that way. You know, I feel sorry for her because she feels bad, but she couldn't have known. Oh,
Sorry.
That's okay.
No, I wish I would have fucking like saw or something. I would have paid more attention or something.
At any point, did Jennifer tell you that she may have known?
No. I mean, I'm very vocal, like on the way I feel about stuff, and I'm thinking about our kids, man. No.
Have you ever told anybody outside of your family or Jen's family or anything like that that you may have known about?
No, I mean, I never would imagine that this would be happening. There was the text message that I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie's my best friend. So I remember calling her and just letting her know, like, hey, I sent this message to your sister. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want beef. And if it creates beef or anything like that, or you never know how people are going to react when you tell them how to parent or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave her a heads up because I wanted her to know, and I'm always very much open with my friends. So I had that exact same text message that you saw. That's exactly what I told her. And I told her what the Jen replied.
Mm-hmm.
But that's as far as like, because that's the only time where I even questioned anything, just because of the way that I feel about stuff. I have my own reservations.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, no, that's it.
Okay. And the reason I ask is somebody called it, as you can imagine, this is a very high profile case. Okay. There's people reaching out from all over the country, whatever it may be. But somebody called in a tip to me saying that you may have told somebody that you knew what was going on.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Promise.
This guy looked at me in my face, knowing everything that he did to Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me like if he had no idea. Like, this guy is a fucking monster, and I'll never forget that.
What do you mean he looked you in the face? When?
So we were trying to figure out what happened with Maddie. And like, I'm very internalized a lot.
so that was strange, wasn't it? So he just said to her that he had heard somebody had given a tip that she might have known what was going on. She said no, she didn't. And then she referred to Stefan as a monster, didn't she? An actual monster. She said, this guy looked me right in the face and he's an absolute monster. Ah, gosh. Honestly, I don't envy the law enforcement trying to pick the bones out of this case. There's so many facets to it, so much different information. They've got to somehow make a case about Stefan. Stefan's case is the fact they've got all that video evidence and that, haven't they? But they're trying to, that doesn't prove the murder. So they've got to try and prove the murder. They're going for the death penalty. So that'll be the problem. But again, we don't know all the full story of what the the prosecution have against Stefan as far as the murder is concerned. As far as the sex abuse is concerned, well, they've got videos and all that, haven't they? So, he's got no chance of getting away with that. It's the murder. And also, why did he do it? I think that is a big question. Why did he do it?
So I'm sitting on the stairs, and I'm just like, I'm in like a daze, because like it doesn't feel real. Like it's just none of this is normal. And like I stand up, I had to wake up early the next day because I had an appointment in Osceola County. So it was Monday night. Once everything starts like Maddie's lost. And I stand up and I told Jen, like, just let me know how I can help tomorrow once I'm done with the meeting. Like, we'll pass out flyers. Like, we'll do everything we can to try to help her find her. And this man, like he looks at me in the eyes and tells me, like, are you okay? And I'm like, look at him. And I'm like, no. Like, he's like, no. Like,
what was his demeanor?
Like, concerned, but he ended up getting like stupid high at some point throughout the night. So he was very numb. But
how do you know he was high throughout the night?
Because like the way his eyes were, like very zoned out. He was high on something. But like
did you see him throughout the night?
He was literally there with us. Like, there.
This is Monday night, or what night is this?
Monday night.
Okay.
Yes, he's there. He's like acting concerned, and like me and Angelica are like Jen is in pieces, and like, no, sir, I promise you that I'm not gonna say this, but I don't like that shit, bro. Like, bro, fuck it, I'll kill him, bro. I would have killed him myself if I knew anything, dog. I promise you.
Yeah, there's. So she said he was high. How does she know he was high? Were they smoking marijuana together? Does she mean high from marijuana, or because of course he was taking all sorts of drugs? So much to unpick in this case, isn't there? I mean, it's ridiculous, really. But hey, the law enforcement, they're the ones who's got to do it. We just sit and we watch these interviews, etc., but we're not the ones who have to actually make a case.
Did you see, other than I keep going back to Monday morning, and so when you were getting ready for your day, you didn't see or hear anybody. Do you remember what time you woke up?
At like 6:45. My son wakes up by 6:03. He's already in the shower by the time I wake up.
Have you talked to your son about this?
Very much. It's very light. My son's on the spectrum, so he takes things in very quickly, and like, not that he forgets about it, but he like compartmentalizes it and like keeps it moving. He's well aware, but the emotion side of it is a little bit disconnected, just because that's the way he kind of is. But
what do you think, he would have went downstairs at any point before you did?
No.
Okay. What kind of sleeper is he? Is he
Deep, knocks out? Always been a good sleeper.
All right. So you wake up 6:45. You do your morning routine. Did you fix lunches and stuff like that day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you didn't see anybody.
No.
So when you fix lunches, is that right before you guys walk out the door, or okay? So if you're leaving at 7:45, so 7:15, 7:30 fixing lunches, or
No, like 7:35 to 7:40. I'm downstairs. It's a quick sandwich. Everything else is like packaged. So I just grab everything, put it in there, go upstairs, get them out the door by 7:45.
okay,
So it's all within 10 minutes, pretty much.
okay, and you didn't see Stephen or Maddie at that point. Could you hear if any tussling around, if Maddie was getting ready for school, or if Stephen was getting ready to take Maddie to school or anything like that? Would you have heard it?
I mean, I was like, every time I saw Maddie, I would address her. I would say, "Good morning, babe. Good. How you doing? Like, you okay?" Like, if I would have seen Maddie, I would have addressed her. So yes, 100%.
Okay, so the times that you've heard Maddie maybe waking up or anything like that, is it noisy?
When I
Now, I just want to bring up what Heavy's just said there, that she can't see Mello's comments. A few chatters have said this, that they can't see the other chatters' comments. I think it was Kelly. Was it Kelly the other day saying it? I have no idea why that is, Heather. I don't know, because I don't know. Unless you've blocked him by mistake, he's blocked you by mistake. But to be honest, because a few chatters have said similar thing lately, I think it's probably a YouTube glitch. But what you could do is try coming out and going back in again. That's the only thing I can think of. YouTube. I've given up trying to understand YouTube. But yeah, we've got. How long have we got now? So Nathalie's interview finishes in about another 10 minutes or so. Another 20 minutes, is it? 15 minutes, and then more or less Nathalie's interview will finish, and then I'm going to stop there and I'll do Angelica's on another video because they are quite long. I hadn't realised.
the only reason I see is because I see her coming out.
So, but Monday morning, dead silence, or
I didn't see her at all.
okay, dogs barking, cat meowing, anything?
No, at that time.
That explains it. That might be why other people have said it, because I've got the two channels. I've got this channel and the Spanish and English channel. And when I live stream to both of them. So some people are watching from the Spanish and English, though you should still be able to see their comments, I think, to be honest. But anyway, so it could be the reason. So if Mello's watching through the Spanglish channel, as he calls it, that could be why you can't see the comments. But really, you should be able to see the comments from all. But, I just don't know. And I'm too ill to think about it. Sorry. But Mello's there, and he's definitely not blocked you or anything. Either you or David.
Sailor is not barking.
I've got to sort that out at some point. I don't know when, but I will one day.
The cat is still typically in Jen's room.
Do you think Maddie was home when you left?
There had been days where she had slept over her grandma's house. So to be honest with you, I didn't think she was home.
Have you ever known Maddie to say, "Hey, I want to go to school early"? No. Have you ever known Maddie to like fast food at all?
Fast food? Starbucks. If we ever went to McDonald's, we get some nuggets, McFlurries. I mean, it wouldn't be something she would take. I have never seen her not be okay with fast food.
Just like any other kid.
Right, right. It was it constant? No. I think that because we were always downstairs cooking and stuff. I would think that Jen was cooking for her and stuff. But I mean, I think if she consumed fast food, it was fairly normal. It wasn't like out of the ordinary.
Have you ever heard Jen tell Maddie or anything like that that she wanted Maddie to go sleep somewhere else so Jen could get a good night's sleep?
No. If Maddie was sleeping somewhere else, it's because either Jen had to work late or she was just sleeping over grandma's house. But I've never, no.
Have you ever known Maddie to sleep with Jen and Stefan in the same bed?
I've never known about that. I have had so many thoughts in my head since everything happened. I don't want to like confuse what I felt before with what I feel now. But no, like in my head, the way this went was that somebody was sleeping on the couch before they opened the partition area. They opened the partition area so that Maddie can sleep there. Like that's how things went in my head.
Mm-hmm. What is your gut telling you what happened?
It's very confusing in the sense of like, because this man looked at me in my eyes with no like acting like he didn't just do what he did. I feel very insecure. Just in general, the way I view people, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was type. I just feel really insecure about everything because it just makes me feel like anything I ever knew was not right. Like if this was really going on, like when we didn't see anything, like that's how I feel. I feel a lot of guilt. Like I feel like, man, were we just not paying attention? Like, I don't know.
Do you think Steven had something to do with this?
What?
Do you think Stefan had anything to do with this?
Oh my God.
Taking the equation out, what you know now.
Right.
Leading up to it.
Like before everything went down, dude, I would have never thought that this would happen. I would have never thought that he was capable of doing anything to her.
Do you think Jennifer had anything to do with this?
No, bro. No. It's impossible, bro. No.
Why do you say that?
Because we're not like that. Like, we're not, dude. Like, we love our kids. Oh, that would break my heart.
I'm not saying she did. I'm just asking.
I know, but no, I can't see her. I can't see her being okay with this. No. I can't see her being okay with this. I can't see her allowing this to happen.
Have you seen any of the interviews on the news that Jennifer's done?
There was a snippet, and I literally came across it because it just appeared. I mean, I know Jen. I know, at least what I know of Jen is I know when she's nervous, right? I know when she's not okay. And what I saw there was someone that, and again, it's a snippet. I haven't seen all of them. I don't know how many she did. Mm-hmm. And I think that, I mean,
I've spoken to her several times already. Sometimes when we're speaking, she seems a little disconnected. Is that normal?
So a lot of, and maybe this was my mistake, but a lot of if there's any type of like disconnection, I would say would be because of the medication. Like if I ever felt like she was just like not like a little bit out there, I would always atone it to like the medication that she was on.
I've been saying that as well from the beginning. I know, Jen is on another planet, unless she's come off a medication now. So we don't know what state she's in at the moment. Nobody knows. We only know the interviews that we saw with Jen, but they were back in March. So, Jen has had all this time where she's had to reconcile herself with what's happened to Madeleine. She had to accept the truth of what's happened. Honestly, I bet she's all over the place. She was all over the place before this happened to Madeleine. She'll be in complete denial. She won't know whether she's on her head or her ass, basically. I don't mean to be facetious, but I think it's true. I think Jen will have been to hell and back between March, when she was last publicly interviewed, and now, and then going through Christmas time and everything. And who knows what medication she's on now. She might be on more, she might be on less. But I think Stefan was definitely giving her double doses. I really do believe that. So she didn't have a clue what was it. I think she was just completely in denial all the way. It's just like, is this really happening to me? Somebody who wasn't even on medication would feel like that. So, as I say, I'll be interested to see how Jen is the next time that she's interviewed. We're going back to March for these interviews with Jen that have been, going around. What is she like now? And like she's saying, she seemed disjointed to her. She sort of, when someone's out their head on, sedatives or whatever it was, and then probably getting a double dose from the monster that she was living with, how can you even rely on anything they say? She didn't know what day it was, did she?
Is that quite often, or very rare, or?
I thought she was doing really well recently. No, like in the most recent ones, me speaking to her, she was very clear, very cohesive, like communicating back, being happy in a sense, like in a better mood. No, I mean, and again, seeing her now, I atone that to either maybe over medicating or being severely depressed, or it's not her normal self. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if there's ever been time in the past where I felt like we were having conversation and she was kind of out there, I thought it would be because of the medication.
Have you ever noticed any change in either Jen's demeanor or Maddie's demeanor when Stefan moved out?
I would think that it was because of them actually being broken up and her having her space and not having him upstairs. I do feel like it was a better mood, a better situation. Again, I saw her in a better light, but
did she seem happier, sad, angry?
I think there was moments where she felt lonely, maybe. After being with someone for so long, I can't imagine breaking up and stuff and then having to be alone. But I would say feel lonely. But all in all, I want to say it was a good move. It was a good thing.
Did Jennifer ever talk to you about her and Stefan's sex life at all?
No.
Did she ever talk to you about her sex life in general at all?
I mean, I know her sexual orientation, right? Mm-hmm. But that's as far as we talk in regards to that. Okay. I don't really honestly talk to my friends too much mm-hmm. about that.
Makes sense.
Super intimate, no. But we know each other's orientation and what we like.
Got it. Now, for Jen, does she like boys or girls? Both?
Both.
Okay. Any idea about Steph?
Now that is what Stefan's mum and dad, that was one of the reasons they didn't like Jen, wasn't it? Because they said, what was it they said? She was bipolar, bisexual, and a drug addict, I think. I mean, they had nothing, they didn't say that in a positive way. They had nothing good to say about her. So this friend is confirming that Jen did swing both ways, or whichever way you want to say it, which, why shouldn't she? She's a grown adult. She can do whatever she wants. But it's interesting to hear her confirm that, because to be perfectly honest, when I heard Stefan's mum say that, I just thought she said it in such a nasty way. I wasn't sure that it was actually correct, but apparently it is. So, well, do you know what? I bet she's not even bisexual now. It'd be just like she'll definitely be only interested in women, I would imagine. Not that, women aren't beyond being abusive, though, as well. There's a few cases out there, unfortunately, of women that have abused children and things. So, it's another road to go down, I suppose. But I personally don't think she's abused Maddie in any way.
Stefan? Boys, girls, both?
I don't know.
No.
No.
Did Jen ever tell you that she's sexually active still?
No. If I would assume if she was, it would have been with Stefan. But I mean, we didn't talk about anybody new or anything like that. Like, as far as I know, she was on the Lonely Island. Like, we were all.
Has she ever told you that her sex drive is gone? Anything like that?
So I think at some point she had mentioned that, as far as like part of like the symptoms.
When did she mention this to you?
During the time that she was having a difficult time with her medication, trying to find something out. But it was very like, it was just one of the symptoms. Like, we didn't go into it. Because again, we didn't really, like, we don't go into like super sexual stuff.
Right. Is there anything that I need to know regarding this case that we haven't talked about today that you think?
No, if anything, I have questions. But
what questions do you have? Some may not be able to answer.
No, I don't. I've been so like with blinders on, and I told myself that once I moved out of that place, that I could like accept new information.
Are you completely moved out? Like all your stuff gone?
Yeah. I'm supposed to help Angelica between 1 or 2 to move out the rest of her stuff.
Because I need to talk to her again today too. And I keep calling her, and maybe because I leave messages in English, and she doesn't really speak much English.
Right, she doesn't. Yeah. Yes, I'm completely moved out, and I feel like I want information, but then I get scared, and I don't want any information. No. I mean, whatever you need to really get justice for her. I mean, to really close it, whatever.
That's my job.
I wish I would. Fuck. I don't want anything.
I just want to make sure that 100%, because obviously when tips come in and mention you by name, I just want to make sure that you're being 100% honest with us. And even if you did, you're not going to get in trouble for not saying anything. It's just, we need to know those type of details.
No, this was the only thing that I wanted to make sure.
Did you tell anybody about that message other than
only
the
Stephanie?
Okay.
And like I said, that was mainly just me. Like, I always felt like, okay, I'll be like the double lookout, make sure the kids are good, like have extra eyes on the kids. Like, this is a situation that I would have never wanted my kid to go through. Like I get how severely this can affect you in life, and like thank God that my situation was resolved. But like I never wanted our kids to be this close to this shit, and I feel like I always prided myself to be more like to have like that third eye, like to look out for danger type shit, to like be protective of our kids, and like it's very upsetting that anything that happened. Like it, I don't, like I said, I'm really insecure right now. Like I don't feel like like everything that I've known in my life, like I'm questioning.
No, one quick question that you say you sleep with the TV on all night and it's loud or whatever. How do you hear your alarm?
I keep my phone like right next to me, and then my son wakes me up too.
Mm. Okay. All right. Can you think of anything else? What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my cell phone number, okay? Mm-hmm. Feel free to call or text me anytime, day or night, if you can remember the slightest little detail that we did not.
Now, that's more or less the end of that first interview. He does go on then to interview Angelica. Now, that's an interesting interview from my point of view because most of it is in Spanish. So I'll do that as a part 2 because it's too long otherwise. So that is the first roommate, Nathalie, being interviewed. There's a couple of sort of nuggets came out of that, isn't it? She confirmed that Jen is bisexual. She confirmed that she didn't like although she didn't really like Stefan, she did think of him as Madeleine's stepfather. She didn't see anything strange about him. She never thought that there was anything like that going on, according to her, blah, 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 blah. A few interesting things that we found out about the dynamics of the household, etc. So I will be doing a part 2 where we'll listen to Angelica's interview, which is mainly in Spanish and it is interpreted, but I'll be able to listen to it and know what they really are saying. Oh, can you hear my voice? It's going. But anyway, I just wanted to say at the end now, I'm so annoyed that my voice is going because I want to do a rant. I'm desperate to do a rant. I will be doing a rant, but it'll probably be tomorrow now. Hopefully my voice will be better. I don't think I could get through a rant at the moment. Sorry. I'm so angry with, let me take Madeleine's face off there because I don't want her face on there while I'm talking about this. Another twonk. So many twonks in the world. But Elon Musk, oh my God. Oh my God. When someone's a complete twonk, when they make you feel sympathetic towards Nigel Farage. So, Elon Musk, he's been interfering, hasn't he, with the British politics. And I've got to the point where it doesn't matter even if what he says is true. I just hate him. What has it got to do with him? He's using his platform, his Twitter platform, and his clout with Donald Trump to sort of try and make out he's some political guru. He's not even elected. He's just like, oh God, I'm so angry with him. And of course, he started criticising the British government, which, there are a lot of criticisms of the British government at the moment. But it's nothing to do with him, is it? It's nothing to do with him telling British people what. In fact, maybe he should just carry on doing it because then British people don't like being told what to do, do they? They like to do their own thing. And he's coming out saying, oh, there should be a revolution and there should be another election. There should be this. Tommy Robinson should be released. And even Nigel Farage just stopped short of that. So then Elon Musk was saying, what was it? He was saying that Tommy Robinson should be joining Reform because Elon Musk wants to donate money to Reform. the Reform UK political party. And at first they were all for it. Oh my God, Elon Musk's offering to send us, a few $1 million. They were full of it. They were fawning all over him. And then, of course, he started trying to interfere even more by saying that then they should let Tommy Robinson join, do this, do that. Tommy Robinson's in prison. Well, Elon Musk, he supports convicted felons because he supports Donald Trump, of course, who's got his sentence coming on January the 10th. It's a fiasco, the whole thing. And look, see, I can't even, I've started talking, I've started ranting. My throat's gone. Everything's gone. I can't do a rant. I can't do a proper rant. And I want to. I really want to rant against Elon Musk. And I've even started to like Nigel Farage better because at least he's standing up to him. So he said, now, I agree with him in a way. Farage doesn't have what it takes. Here he is, absolute twonk. How dare he? How dare he tell British people, or the British, he has got no right to say he's not British. He's South African. He's not even American. He's an immigrant and he hates immigrants. He's a South African immigrant. He does nothing all that money he's got, and what does he do to help society? Nothing. He's just divisive. He spreads hate. He's a horrible, horrible person. And I tell you what, Elon, no matter how much money you've got, it won't make you attractive to women. You might be buying women, but look at you. Also, you will still die just like everybody else dies. It won't give you eternal life unless you're working on some bloody chrysogenic project or whatever. And much as I'm not a fan of Nigel Farage, at least Nigel Farage, he won't know what to do with Elon Musk now. Nigel Farage is like, oh shit, it's like making a Frankenstein monster, isn't it? He's created a monster and he doesn't know what to do with him now. Because Elon Musk now is like, oh, do this, let Tommy Robinson out of prison. I'm going to build a tunnel from America from New York to London. We don't want you in London. Bugger off. Don't want you in Britain. You're not even British. You're not even, I might not live in Britain, but at least I'm British. I care about Britain. Everything about Britain affects me living as a British person abroad in Europe. What has it got to do with you? Anyway, so he said that now, because Nigel Farage didn't go, so I'm ending up doing a rant, but it's hurting my ears, it's hurting my throat, it's hurting everything. He said that Reform UK needs a new leader because Nigel Farage doesn't have what it takes. Feck off. Feck off, Elon. It's nothing to do with you. Oh. So he was making comments, wasn't he, about the historic grooming scandal, which is terrible. Of course it's terrible. If you think only immigrants do grooming and paedophilic acts in Britain, you're a fool. I could look up the statistics and put, grooming gangs who are British homegrown and grooming gangs that aren't, or that are, I don't know, Muslims or whatever. They're horrible people, whatever background they come from. So despite him agreeing with Mr. Farage and the Conservatives that there should be another national inquiry, a dividing line has emerged between tech billionaire and the Reform leader over the former support for jailed activist Tommy Robinson. Now, a lot of people support Tommy Robinson, but the thing is, he's in prison, and he's in prison. It's not, why is he in prison? It's something to do with him not going along with things he should. I don't even know now. I can't get my head around it. So anyway, Nigel has said, well, this is a surprise. Elon is a remarkable individual, but on this, I'm afraid I disagree. My view remains that Tommy Robinson is not right for reform, and I never sell out my principles. Now, I've always said that I think Tommy Robinson is being paid by people to create discord. I've said that for a long time. You know, he lives in Spain, not that far away from where I am, as it happens. He lives in Albier. He travels on an Irish passport. He's in America a lot. He's probably being paid by Elon Musk, because Elon Musk just likes to dabble in everything, and create discord and show how important he is as a bloody megalomaniac. Terrible. So what I would say, and I will do a proper, I can't get too ranty because for the simple reason my ears are hurting, my throat's hurting, my head's hurting, and I need to go and lie down in a dark room. But I want to rant about this man. I hate him, Elon Musk. He's a right-wing misogynist, total twonk. In fact, he should have been twonk of the year. I'm going to make him a candidate this year. I know we've got a long way to go and there'll be a lot more candidates. But as far as I'm concerned, Elon Musk. Hi, Caroline. Elon Musk. He's good. He is an absolute. Oh my God. So I'm going to do. The voice is going. Yeah. Feck off, Elon. And I'll tell you what comes to something when I'm defending Nigel Farage. It's like, at least he stood up. At least he stood up for, give him a special award. Yeah, maybe we should start doing a twonk of the month. So maybe he'll come up with the January award. Oh, your power's gone out. Oh, no. Sorry to hear that, Caroline. Anyway, I'm going to have a really good rant about him when I get better. Oh, God. Horrible man. Horrible man. Oh, and he's already fallen out with Donald Trump. Can you imagine those two egos trying to get on together? Got Donald Trump. I'm just going to, it's like, get your popcorn, sit back and enjoy the ride, because he's not going to get on with Donald Trump. Donald Trump's given him this important position, and he's not even elected, so that's not going to go down well. He'll be going in there, he'll be roaming around the White House like he is the president. He's not the president. At least Donald Trump has been voted in. Whatever I think of Donald Trump is immaterial. That's democracy. He's been voted in, for whether I agree with it or not. American people like him for whatever reason, or at least half of them do anyway. But Elon Musk, would people have voted for Elon? I don't know. So I'm going to lie down in a dark room and try and recover my voice. Oh, so I can hear them all outside because it's Three Kings tonight. So they're all getting ready outside. It'll be bangers any minute now. Yeah, Caroline, it's lucky you have a solar battery. Suppose that's one good thing about living on a farm, isn't it? Because you live on a farm, don't you? So that's one good thing. You've got some backups. There'll be a lot of people who haven't got backups out there. And it's warm, isn't it? At least, so you're not having to worry about, I presume, you're not having to worry about, it's not cold, I presume, even if it's raining. I would imagine it's quite warm. Anyway, I'm going. So listen, thanks to listening to me go on. I'm sorry I couldn't get into a proper rant. I will be doing. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing. And please leave your DNA on the like button. Yeah, more whiskey. I haven't got any. Well, I have got a little bit of whiskey, but technically it's not mine. It's my son's. But I've got vodka. So I'll be fine. I'll see you soon in the next video, and until then, may your God go with you. Thank you.